All right, good morning. Hopefully we are live and good. I haven't gone live in a while, so I'm not expecting a ton of people to show up, but I figured since we had a really good day in terms of sales yesterday, I figured I'd pack all of that up. I haven't been live, just been working on the business in the background, and I started posting a little bit here and there with photos and stuff like that. But the goal today is to ship all of the pairs that we sold yesterday. So we did just over $2,800 in sales. Hi, Hi, Juliet. How are you? We did just over $2,800 in sales yesterday. So I'm going to slowly start shipping. Juliet, it looks like you were the person here so far. So yeah, I'm going to start shipping that very slowly. And we will start the day off that way. As long as people start coming in, then we'll keep going. But we will start out with Mercari, since it was the last or the only sale that was one sale on here. So Mercari, we sold, and I need to grab a bag for that. So give me 2 seconds. All right, now we're ready to go. I wasn't fully ready like I thought I was. So, like I said, we've got a ton of packages to ship out. So my goal is to do that as quickly as possible, but also answer questions and stuff. So thank you guys for being here. Like I said, we sold one on Mercari, 4 on Depop. I'll say 1 on Mercari. Technically 3 on Depop, 4 really, because I'll explain. 3 on Poshmark, and then almost 20 on eBay. So we're going to start rolling here in a second. 1, 2 on Poshmark. Yeah, so eBay was the main killer. Like I posted about all day yesterday on Facebook. eBay was popping off yesterday. So we'll start off with Poshmark. We sold a pair of Fresh Foam Arishi V4s. They are the Gore-Tex model. This is not a model that I pick up unless it's like perfect, and they were in really good shape. So they're in really good shape. They sold for $39 with free shipping on Mercari. I don't do free shipping anymore, so that was one of the older listings that didn't get converted with all the systems, so I did not make a lot of money on those. I think I made like $14 on those, because at the time free shipping was what was working on Mercari. Now nothing works on Mercari. So that is just one of those one-off sales that I'm kind of glad to see them going, but it's not going to be one of those things where I'm expecting a whole lot from Mercari anyways. But yeah, those are going to UPS, so that's why they're getting a different bag than normal. All right, we will also do Depop. Where is this one? So I've already actually packaged this item up before the live, but I actually already shipped this item too. So the buyer put in their address wrong, and there's no way to change it or anything like that. And so I kind of was like looking up like what's the best way to solve this, and they were like, just make a listing for $1. We'll pay you for it. So they sent another list, or they purchased a listing. So I made 16 cents for a new label. So this is now getting shipped back to them. And somehow he managed to put the exact same address on there. So I have a feeling this is going to come right back to me. But you never know. So yeah, that was like I said, I already shipped this item. It came back to me. They purchased a new label, so I'm going to ship it back to them. Hopefully it gets to them correctly this time. Next item is actually a pair of KDs. So a Nike KD. These are one of the older models, but I tend to do well with these in like the $30 to $40 range, $35 to $45 range. Sometimes they go for a little bit more. These are men's size 14. They're huge. But they sold for $40 plus shipping. I made $33.03, so I think I made like $18 on these. But it was a quick sale, so I'm not mad about it. It's a bread and butter thing where I'm doubling my money on it. I'm not mad about it at all. But it's super easy to pack up and ship, so I don't care. So we will go there. Hello. My phone's freaking out. All right. So that's the first one. But if you guys are just joining, leave a comment down below. I'd love to talk to y'all. I appreciate you guys being here. That is the technically second Depop item. And you guys are gonna freak out, especially on the people that like to watch after the live. They watch the replay. I sold a clothing item. I know it's heresy that I would sell a clothing item as a shoe seller. This is Nubitags Nike. They were a pair of shorts. I paid $12 for them, 12 or 13 bucks for them, and they sold for $40, and I made $33.22. So I made 20 bucks on these. So as much as I don't like listing clothing, I don't put any measurements. I don't do any of that. I list the clothing. I tell the size. They don't get measurements. They don't get any of that. They just get what they get, basically. And I haven't had any returns, cross my fingers, for any of the clothing that I've sent, so I haven't had to worry about that. But yeah, so this was actually a pretty quick sale. I actually had a lot of people interested in these. I think I had almost 30 likes on this item on Depop, which is great. Means that people wanted them. It's a good size too. It was a pair of Nike Lava Loops. I think they're like Nike ACG shorts, but they're Nubitags. So good little sale there. And doesn't take too long to ship, which is great. Or take pictures or like do any of that stuff. That's the only thing with clothing is I don't like doing clothing, but if it's super simple, I'll do it. Next one is a pair of the Adidas Supernova Rises. This is a good model. I don't actually know why it took so long to. I mean, the tread's perfect. Like, this is a basically borderline brand new shoe. I probably could have listed these as new other. I mean, it took a little bit of a while to sell. These also sold for $40, which is great. I made $34.40, and I think my profit on those was $21, which is fine. So yeah, yesterday I made like $60 in profit just from Depop alone, just as like the extra platform. So I will take that. And then, so those were the big three. Like, here's the thing with Depop is that there'll be some days where I'll get like 3 or 4 sales like I did yesterday. And then there'll be some days that I get 8. So Depop is nice because it's kind of that extra platform. What Mercari used to be, where it's the occasional one where you'll get 7 sales in a day, or you'll get 1, or sometimes you'll get 4. But I never count on it. eBay I count on. So eBay and Poshmark, technically I'm supposed to count on it. But Depop outsold Poshmark yesterday. So we will see how that plays into everything. But the sales that we did get on Poshmark were not very good sales, truthfully. One of them is going to require a box though, and it was a pair of Nike retail arbitrage. So I'm not super worried about it anyways. But it's a model that you can look at or look for because a lot of people won't pick it up. So I don't mind sharing it. Not for the fact that they're not at retail anymore, so you aren't going to be able to find them. But for resale versions of them, these are called the Zoom Rotational 6s. So they've got a flat bottom. They're meant for, when I say flat, like I'm talking like the top of a table flat. They're meant for like discus throwing and shot put and all that stuff. But those are brand new without the tags. They sold for $69, which means I made like $55.20 on those. I paid $22, so I made like $30 on those. So, but in used condition, I've sold them before for $50 as well. So they're definitely sought after. This was a good size. This was a men's size 6.5, and they were pink. So I'm sure that they sold as a women's size 8, which is great. Quick seller too. They didn't last very long. I think they were skew like 8.5, 6 something. So they did not last very long, which is good. The last pair for Poshmark is one of the oldest listings that I have. And I was very happy to see it go. These are like called like the Tempo Next or Tempo Fly Knits. And I just re-niftied these. That's what I'm going to start labeling or calling them. I just redid the AI on those, and they sold. So they didn't sell for a lot. They sold for $21. Again, one of my oldest listings. They've been zeroed out for about 6 months. So technically, I'm making all of the $16.80, but really, they have been sitting as a waste of space for however long. So I'm glad to see them go. In the next week or so, what I'm probably going to do is this whole shelf here. You can't see it, but there's a whole shelf this way. There's about 150 to 200 listings that I just need to get rid of. So either a Whatnot or an eBay Live or something. But I'm going to start everything at like super cheap and just try and get rid of it. Because it's good stuff that'll sell for like 25 to 30 bucks. But it's just stuff that I don't want anymore. And I have a lot of new inventory coming in. And so that is just going to be a necessary requirement to get rid of all of that stuff. So even if it doesn't sell on that, I'm just going to get rid of it anyways. Alrighty. We just got an offer on Poshmark, and it is not quite good enough. All right, so now we go on to eBay. So I'm going to use my handy dandy iPad so that way I can talk to y'all and it doesn't look like I am straight up ignoring you guys. So I've already had 2 sales this morning, but I'm not shipping those out until tomorrow. We're going to start all the way at the top. So the first sale of the day is actually a pair that I listed yesterday or day before. Not sure, but this is a really good model, good one to look out for. These are the Ultra Lone Peak. These are like the hiking boots. They're called the all-weather hiking boots. These sell really well for me. The only reason why I listed these a little bit lower is just because it was missing an insole. So it has a replacement insole on there. It doesn't. It has the original insole on that one. I think I listed these at $79, and I was into them for like $15. So let me pull up. So on my phone, I'll pull up Nifty so I can tell you exactly how much I made on this stuff. We're kind of cruising through this live, which is good. So the Ultra Lone Peak sold for $65. I paid $15.78. So after fees, shipping, and everything, I made $41.95 on those. So that's definitely one to look out for. The Lone Peaks sell really well. Obviously, they need to be in good condition, and that one was. But this is going to get a box. So I'm not going to put those in a bag just because they won't fit. Like a clear bag, like all the other shoes that are in there. But they will get the box treatment for sure. Let's see if I can slide these together. Yep. We'll go in just like this. Just squeeze them up at the top, slide them down. Probably needs a little bit more paper. That was the last sale of last night, and that was a good way to end it. So these are going all the way to Bakersfield, California. And that is the last sale of yesterday for eBay. The next one is going FedEx, which means they get one of these boxes, and this is a really good one. Like I said, yesterday we had a really good sales day. I think all in total we did just over $2,800 in sales, which is great. But we sold a lot of expensive shoes yesterday, so that's probably why. But this was another one of the expensive pairs that sold, but these were new without box. So good running brands. Obviously, Nike's, you guys know what Nikes are, but these are the Vomero Pluses, and these were a women's size 11. So I thought I was going to sit on these for a while. This was 8708. I just listed 8840 or something like that. So they sat for less than 100 pairs, which is less than a week for me, which is great. And they sold for full price. They sold for $169. So with everything, fees, shipping, and everything, I paid $80 for these, I believe. I gotta find them. Can't see them right now. Yeah, I paid $82 for these. So after fees and everything, I made $44.47, which doesn't seem like a lot for paying $80. But the fact that they sold so quickly, technically, you want to get real technical, I'm getting $120 back. After that, I'm more than happy with that. So making $50 on those, especially new stuff, I will take it 100%. That was a really good sale. So those are going FedEx. So I definitely got to drop those off today. Or if the FedEx truck man comes, then I can give him stuff as well. Next sale is a pair of OnClouds. These are the OnCloud Roger Spins. They're in okay shape there. That's a Sharpie mark on the bottom there. They're not in like the greatest shape in the world, but they still sold for full price. So they sold for $59 plus shipping, I believe. Yeah, so the $59 plus shipping, I paid $13.84, so I made $27.37 after fees and everything. So a really good sale in terms of that. Good margin for me, especially thrifted items. Even not in like the greatest condition, those OnClouds tend to do really well. And yeah, they're in like, I mean, it's super simple to pack them up. Happy days. Alrighty. Next one is a pair of the Asics Gel Nimbus 27s. I think they're on a 28s, 29, something like that. These were in okay condition, truthfully. Like they had a little bit of wear on the outsides and stuff like that, but otherwise they're in really good shape. Running shoes wise, so I listed them at 69, and they sold. Somebody sent an offer for 59, and I only paid $15 for them. I think, yeah, I paid $15 for them. So I made. They sold for 59, paid $15.68. So after fees, shipping, and everything, I made $30.23 on these. So really happy about that, especially due to the quickness, and the size is a little bit small. These are men's size 8.5. So for running shoes, it's a little bit smaller of a size for men's, but it's still in the range that I'm happy to pick up. That sale 7661. I think that's the only one I didn't grab. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, it's the only one I didn't grab. This is a good sale. I'm actually surprised that these sold for as much as they did. These are the Charged Gemini. So these are definitely an older pair of Under Armours. I think they're on like the Charged Gemini like 4s or something like that. The colorway is good, and they have sold well for me in the past. These sold for $59 plus shipping. So again, a really easy sale. Just purely they took a little bit longer than what I would have liked. They took 1,000 listings, so that would have been 2.5 months that they sat. But They did sell for full price, so I can't complain about that. They were all buyer. I was all in 68.26, and I paid 14.03, so I made 32.58. And these sold without a promotion, which is rare for me. So I made all of my money on that, which is great. All right, the next pair. This is the big one. This is one of the big ones. I already shipped out the Doc Martens boots yesterday, so if you're looking for those, they aren't in this live. These are the Polo Ralph Lauren loafers that I sold. I cheated a little bit, and I already packaged these up. But these sold yesterday for $500. Somebody sent me an offer for $400. I countered at $500, and they accepted. So, which is great. I was really worried that they weren't going to accept that. I paid a lot of money for these, so I was excited that they accepted. I paid $259.30 on these. So after fees and promotion fees and all of that stuff, I made $130 on these, which for me, I am ecstatic with. The fact that I'm paying, I know that it's like I'm paying $250. I should probably try and double my money on that. The fact that I made $120 in these and they took a little less than a month to sell, maybe over, I don't know. They didn't take long. So the fact that I got these gone is happy for me. So I'm really excited about the fact that those are gone. Again, it's a $500 sale. I'm only making $100, $120 in profit. A lot of people will shy away from that, but me, I am more than happy to do that over and over and over and over again. All right, next pair. This is a really nice pair of Adidas NMDs. Somebody, I don't know who it was, somebody I knew said that NMDs were dying. I have been selling at least one every single day. They have to be in really good shape, I will say. This is not like a thing to go pick up every pair of NMDs that you find. But either men's and women's, they have been selling for me. So in really good shape, good colorways, I wouldn't say that's a bad pickup. These sold for full price as well. These sold for $49 plus shipping. So my bread and butter price. Messed up the tape. Messed up the tape. And they sold, I can tell you in about 3 seconds. They sold pretty quickly. So they were, they took just 2 weeks to sell. So like I said, they're a quick seller. I paid $15 for them. I made $17.59 on them. So nothing crazy, but good bread and butter stuff. Something that I can move fairly quickly. I am definitely on board with that. The next one is going to require a box, and I don't think they will fit in a normal box. These are a pair of Doc Martens that I got at retail for retail arbitrage. I paid $51 for these. They're like a Chelsea boot, but they're like knit right here. They're really nice. They didn't sell like I thought they would sell. So somebody sent me an offer for $100 on these, and I took it. So I think I only made like 25 bucks on these. But the fact that they sold, I'm happy about. I can't bend them. So that's going to have to go in a big box, unfortunately. It is what it is. But it's a good sale. So $100 is nothing to shy away from in terms of sale price. But I think I had them listed at like $150. So not the end of the world, but they're also a smaller size too. They're women's size 6. So that may have been a portion of it as well. So these will go here, and they will go here in that box like that. And I don't need to use all of the paper, but we will use a good portion of it. So those are going to Michigan. And I'll tell you exactly how much I made here in a second. Sorry, I I know it's loud. All right. They were listed for 136 days. They sold for $100. I was all in for $51.10, and I made $25.53. So, not the end of the world. It's not something I would encourage sitting on it for a quarter of the year, but they did sell, so I will take it. I was excited about the fact that they sold. All right, next pair is going to get a box because they are dress shoes. All right, next pair is a pair of Johnston & Murphy's. It's not a brand that I pick up very often unless it's in like really good condition and or something special with it. So it's not like an always pick up like an Allen Edmonds or something like that. But these were woven on the like midsole / like the top. So they were woven, so a little bit special with a cap toe. Nice pair of shoes. They sold for full price. They took just over a month, 2 months to sell. According to Nifty, they took 67 days, so 2 months, just over 2 months to sell. Full price sale, $49. If I had to guess, yeah, I paid $14.03 on these, so I made $19.64. So bread and butter. Not mad about that at all. Good double up on these. But I like, as a disclaimer, I don't pick up all Johnston & Murphy's. They have to be specific, or they have to be like ridiculously clean. And not all models sell well. So do your research. But it's a good brand for some things. This is another brand that I don't pick up a lot of unless they're perfect. And these are these Skechers Ingram Relax Fits. I don't really know. They're an ugly colorway, and I thought the ugly might sell, and they did. So they sold for $42 on an offer, which is fine. I had these listed for 52 days. And like I said, they sold for $42. I paid $15.88, so I made $16.23 on them, which is not bad. Again, another bread and butter. Nothing to complain about. But the average sale price, average profit was definitely up from a lot of the other pairs. And some future pairs here in a second. But these are the good little money makers that they add up and they help make the business run. Another one that actually ended up being an offer, a Nifty offer. I listed these yesterday, day ago, Wednesday, I think. We'll see. I listed these. It says I listed these yesterday. So they sold for $44.10. This is a model that is 4 models old. So they are on the 15s or the 16s, but they were in really clean condition. And the colorway is good. So black and white colorways typically do a little bit better for me running shoe wise. And some people just have preferences on shoes. So I picked these up on a whim just to test it, and they sold within a day. So good test. It was a good size. It was a women's size 8.5. But yeah, so I paid sold for $44.10. I paid $15.78. So I made $17.37. Bread and butter sold in a day. Cannot complain. All right, next up. This is a good sale. So these will require a box. This is actually a larger shoe as well. So hopefully this fits in here. So I paid up for these a little bit. We were talking about Ultras earlier. This is a really good pair of Ultras. These are the Mont Blanc BOA. So they have the BOA lacing system on them. Really nice pair of shoes. They're still not in like the greatest condition in the world, but they're a men's size 15. So it's a harder size to find, especially like specific shoes like that. So I paid up for them. I paid $31.38, and they sold for $84.15. So that would have been a Nifty offer. Nifty offer, probably. Yeah. And with that, I made $32.81. So I made basically $1 more than what I paid for them, which is great in terms of profit. So taking home like $62, $63 on those, which is great. We got 2 more. And another one's going to require a box as well, which is good because that fills out the rest of the IKEA bag. This is another one that sold in a day. This was definitely they sent an offer for 40. I countered at 44. They accepted it. And these are going to Connecticut. Yeah. These are the Moab 3 mids. The only reason why I listed them so low was they had a couple stains on them. But this is still a really good shoe. And I'm sure that they will get stains from being run in and hiked in and all of that stuff. So I don't think the buyer cares all that much. But they sold in less than a day as well. So I'm sure that it would have been that like $15 sale. Yeah, $15.78. And I made $19.14 on these. So just under $20 in profit, which is great. I will take that. We're gonna go hopefully fit in. We got 1 shoe left. But typically that model sells for a lot better. I just listed them a little bit less because of the condition. But in really good shape, those sell for good money. All right. Last sale of the day. Were these Nike Pegasus. This is a couple models old, I believe. Yeah, these are the 37s, but they're triple black colorway. And typically, Nike Pegasus do really well in triple black colorways. Not necessarily regardless of the model, but I mean, these are the 37s. They're on the 41s or the 42s. So that's 4 or 5 models behind, and they still sold for $46. So I paid $15.88 for these. They sold for $46. I made $18.82 on these, which is great. So, like I said, sometimes it's not necessarily all model specific. Sometimes it's colorway specific, and that's what people are looking for. Alrighty, so that's it. I appreciate you guys being here. That's all that sold. I talked to myself the whole time, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry that I didn't answer any questions. There wasn't any questions today, which is okay. But I am going to just keep posting on Facebook and stuff like that. So if you're following or you're on YouTube right now, make sure you follow my Facebook. I'm just posting photos and stuff like that of the stuff that I find. But I hope you guys have a good weekend and enjoy